By the middle of last year, roughly half of all the RVs sitting on American dealer lots had been parked there longer than 90 days. Not sold, not even close, just aging in the sun while the next model year rolled in on trucks behind them. Shipments for 2026 are running down double digits. The industry association quietly cut its forecast toward the low 300,000s, and that's a shadow of the 600,000 plus that came flooding out during the 2021 peak. So you've got a business drowning in unsold inventory, hanging sale banners in the parking lot, practically begging people to come buy something. And then you pull up with a clean trade. Low miles, no damage, everything works. Exactly the kind of unit a struggling lot should be thrilled to see. And the number they slide across the desk is a slap in the face. Or on some rigs, they don't even give you a number. They just pass. No dealer has taped a no trade-in sign to the front door. That's not what's happening, and I'm not going to pretend it is. What's happening is quieter and stranger than that. The offer on a huge slice of units has fallen so far that it works like a refusal. And on one particular category of rig, they really will wave you off and tell you to try somewhere else. It isn't ego. It isn't that they looked at your coach and decided it was junk. And it isn't the economy in the hand, wavy way people say that word when they don't have a better answer. There's a specific machine running underneath every dealership in the country. And once you can see it, the lowball stops looking like an insult and starts looking like the only move they had. Here's the thing. Almost nobody gets right, and everything else falls out of it. When a dealer takes your RV, they are not doing you a kindness. They are buying it. Your coach goes onto their books, into their inventory, and becomes their problem to resell for more than they handed you. That's the entire transaction. It wears the friendly costume of a discount on your next rig. But strip the costume off, and a dealer just bought a used RV from a stranger, mostly without inspecting it, with a loan still hanging off the back of it. Which means the question was never really whether they'd take it. The question is whether they want what you're selling, at a price that still leaves daylight for them to come out ahead. And in 2026, on a whole lot of coaches, the honest answer to that is a flat no. To understand why, you have to look at something most buyers have never once thought about. The dealer doesn't actually own the RV units on that lot. Now, if you're serious about keeping your RV alive, I put together something called the 30-Year RV Bible. It covers all 47 maintenance habits with the exact intervals, the 11 places water gets into an RV, the 45-point inspection checklist for buying used, 22 dealer upsells decoded with the exact words to say back, and printable checklists you keep in the rig. Everything you need to know. The link is below this video. Alright, let's keep going. Nearly every unit on a dealer's lot is financed, not by a customer, by the dealer, through what's called floor plan financing. It's a revolving credit line the dealership borrows against to stock its inventory, and the RV itself is the collateral. That $80,000 fifth wheel in the front row wasn't bought with cash. It was borrowed into existence, and it's costing the dealer interest for every day it sits there unsold. And floor plan lines carry a feature that would make most owners' hair stand up: the curtailment. It's a forced, scheduled pay down on each individual unit, due whether or not the thing has sold. The lender comes back at set points after the RV is floored and says, pay down a piece of the principal, plus all the interest that's stacked up since. Rates for RV dealers commonly sit several points over prime. One of the biggest publicly traded dealer groups was carrying a floor plan rate near 6% in early 2026, and another watched its floor plan interest bill climb more than a quarter in a single year. Put real numbers on it, and the pressure comes alive. A single high-end coach financed on that line can quietly burn hundreds of dollars a month in interest alone before anyone has walked through it, before a salesperson has even wiped the dust off the dash. Multiply that across a lot packed with units that refuse to move, and the carrying cost swells into one of the fattest bills the dealership pays all month, a bill that only grows the longer the metal sits. So every unit on that lot is a meter counting down. It drains cash daily. It demands those forced paydowns on a schedule. And once it crosses 90 days, which, remember, half the inventory in the country already has, the dealer is throwing good money at a rig nobody has agreed to buy. The dealer's enemy, it turns out, is the exact same one the owner has. It's the calendar. Whatever a dealer can offer you is chained to wholesale, what your RV would fetch at auction or from another dealer, not the hopeful retail sticker you spotted in some online listing. And wholesale has fallen out of the sky. After years of pandemic-warped pricing, used RV values at the wholesale level have slid back to where they were before 2020. Black Book's readings through early 2026 had the average motorhome down in the low 60,000s and still drifting lower, with the big Class A coaches taking the hardest beating of anything on the market, purely because of their high price and their thin sliver of possible buyers. Here's why that governs your offer more than your spotless maintenance record ever could. Wholesale is the dealer's escape hatch, the worst-case number they can dump your unit for if it refuses to sell retail. When that hatch drops lower, the whole trade gets riskier for them, so the figure they'll pay you drops faster than the market itself does. They aren't pricing your RV. They're pricing their own way out. And depreciation is quietly working the other end of the rope, with a typical coach shedding a quarter to a third of its value in year 1 and landing near 37% gone by year 5. Class A gas rigs bleeding fastest of all. None of that curve cares how gently you drove or how spotless the interior is. The market resets the whole segment at once, and your particular coach just rides the wave down with everything else that looks like it. Now look at which RVs are coming through the door for trade this year. They're the pandemic coaches, the ones bought in 2021 and 2022, when demand went vertical and factories were hiring anyone who could hold a drill to crank units out as fast as humanly possible. That stretch produced a wave of rushed, uneven builds that earned a lasting reputation for quality trouble, and those exact rigs are hitting the resale cycle right now, 5 years deep. So the dealer is being asked to buy from the precise model years the used market distrusts most, in a moment when the lots are already choked with them. Supply is heavy, confidence is thin, and your rig is swimming in a sea of near-identical ones with the same question mark hanging over them. And the more a coach can do, the slide-outs, the leveling systems, the residential fridge, the automated everything, the more there is to fail on somebody else's dime once it's the dealer's name on the title. An appraiser looks at all that gadgetry and doesn't see luxury. They see a longer list of things that could turn a resale into a repair bill. And this is where it tips from bad to unworkable. Nobody publishes RV-specific loan data, so the auto market stands in as the closest mirror, and that mirror is flashing red. Something close to 3 in 10 trade-ins toward a new vehicle are now underwater, meaning the owner owes the bank more than the thing is worth, with the average shortfall parked near $7,000, a record. RVs are structurally worse than cars on this, because they get financed over 10, 15, even 20 years with barely anything down. Stretch a 20-year note across an asset that surrenders nearly 40% of its value in 5, and you manufacture owners who spend most of the loan's life owing more than they own. Which means before the dealer can even think about reselling your coach, they'd have to cut a check to your lender to clear the money you still owe. You're not just handing them a hard-to-move rig. You're handing them a hard-to-move rig with a debt stapled to it. Picture the trade a dealer is actually staring at in 2026. A pandemic-era coach from the years the market trusts least. Dropped into a segment that's already glutted, priced against a wholesale floor that keeps caving in, carrying a loan that runs past the unit's own value. Put those pressures on top of a lot that's already overstocked and already draining cash on the aging units they can't sell, and the offer doesn't just come in low. On the genuinely risky rigs, the older Class A cruisers, the high-mile motorhomes, anything hinting at water in the walls, the rational move is to decline the purchase outright. It isn't the dealer being difficult. It's a dealer running the numbers and finding a bet they lose no matter how it's played. That's the whole truth behind the title, and it isn't a scandal. It's a balance sheet. You'd think the fix is simple. Skip the trade, get out some other way. But every exit leads back to the same dead end. The trade itself hands you the crushed number set by the dealer's carrying cost and their downside rather than by how nice you kept the coach. Your fresh tires and clean engine barely nudge it because they're not buying your care. They're buying a liability they have to flip before the meter runs them over. Consignment just flips the risk back onto you. They'll list it and take their slice, but the storage, the insurance, the ownership all stay on your shoulders while it sits, and big motorhomes sit a long while because the buyer pool is tiny. A trailer only needs someone with a truck. A motorhome needs someone comfortable piloting a bus down the interstate. And a private sale drags for that identical reason. Too many units, too few buyers, everyone aware the floor has moved. If a full dealership with a finance office and an ad budget needs months to turn one, a seller with a phone and a listing should brace for longer. Whichever door you try, you walk into the same wall, oversupply, a running clock, and a rig worth less than the loan against it. The strange part is that no villain built this. Follow the money, and it's just a chain of people each doing the sensible thing for themselves. Manufacturers poured out product during the boom because the demand felt permanent, and that overbuild is the glut every lot is still choking down. Consumer lenders sold the long, low-payment note that made a six-figure coach feel painless, and that same note is the machine that quietly produces owners stuck upside down for years. The floor plan lenders wrote curtailment schedules that protect themselves by forcing dealers to keep real skin in every aging unit. And the dealer lives or dies on velocity, on turning metal faster than the carrying cost devours it, which makes your slow, underwater, distrusted trade the single worst thing they could park on the lot. Everyone in that chain is behaving rationally. Add all those rational choices together, and you get a dealer looking you dead in the eye. In a year, they need sales more than air, telling you they don't want your trade. So, when that offer lands and it stings, the useful thing is to stop reading it as a verdict on your RV and start reading it as the dealer's math laid bare. Walk in already knowing your real loan payoff, the actual 10-day figure from the lender, not the balance you're guessing at, and a sober wholesale estimate from an independent guide. The gap between those two numbers is the truth of your position, and no amount of showroom charm closes it. From there, keep your eyes locked on one figure and one only, the total out-the-door cost. A bigger trade allowance paired with a fatter price on the new rig is a magic trick, not a gift. And the trade line and the sale price are two dials they'll spin against each other while you watch the wrong one. And be genuinely careful about rolling what you still owe into a fresh, longer loan on something that's also busy depreciating. That's the move that buries owners 2 rigs deep and further underwater than where they started. Sometimes the sharpest play isn't trading at all. It's holding the coach, paying the balance down, and letting the hole close before you ever set foot on a lot. So here's where it all lands. A dealer can string every sale banner in the county across that parking lot and still turn away your clean, low-mile trade. And both of those things are true for the very same reason. The lot is running on a clock that never stops ticking. The floor those units are priced against keeps sinking. And the trades coming through the door are arriving underwater from the exact years the market trusts the least. That refusal you clicked on was never arrogance, and it was never a judgment on your RV. It's a dealer doing the only arithmetic the floor plan will let them do. And in 2026, on more coaches than anyone in that showroom would ever admit out loud, that arithmetic comes back the same way every time. It just says no.